So Big 12 has some real power. College football playoff this year. I feel like that's how you tease this, how you set this up. Big 12's got some real power in the room, boys and girls. College football playoff selection committee not giving them nearly enough love last year. BYU kicked way too far to the curb, not even a part of the discussion, really. Iowa State, not a part of the discussion. Nothing beyond it just being a one-bid league. Well, now there's some power because, at least in name, Big 12's got the chairman of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee for the 2025 season, and that is none other than Baylor Athletic Director Mack Rhoades. So congratulations, first of all, to Mack Rhoades on the honor. He's replacing Ward Manuel. So it is funny. Like I would not have been able to tell you before last year that Ward Manuel was the Michigan Athletic Director, but when these guys get forced where it almost looks like they're being held at gunpoint to talk to Reese Davis every week after the ranking show in late October and November, and they have to answer these like impossible questions. They're just put in an impossible spot on a week-by-week basis where the entire country is going to get mad at them. That's Mack Rhoades now. So he does have the unenviable task of having to do that, having to be the punching bag. He's got to go be the honorary punching bag for America and specifically college football Twitter to just crush every week. I mean, it's without fail. It's great, I'm sure, for ratings for ESPN and just generating conversation about this engagement, like we all talk about these days. It's great for engagement, but for the guy doing it, not very fun. And I'm not sure that it's really the best thing for the playoff overall in general, but it does create a lot of discussion and arguing, and we all get at each other's throats. Well, Mack Rhoades will be at the head of that now. He's one of 5 new members of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Mark D'Antonio, former Michigan State head coach, he's on it now. Maryland Athletic Director Damon Evans, Middle Tennessee Athletic Director Chris Massaro, Wesley Walls, former Ole Miss tight end, and former ESPN sports writer Ivan Maisel also added. So I know you'll look at this and say, well, John, what does this mean? Like, what kind of, does this matter? Is there any impact from this? Is there any power in this for Mack Rhoades being on the committee? I mean, I don't really think so, no. To me, as far as I can discern, really the thing about this is you are just the public face, and I'm sure there's more that goes on with it behind the scenes. But, more as far as it concerns us, he just has to be the public face to take all the bullets and answer the questions. Now, maybe he does a great job. And if he does a great job and actually finds a way to make most people happy, there's no way he'll make all of Twitter happy. But if he can make more people happy, I don't know, maybe that does something for his personal reputation. I don't know that it's going to help the league very much. So maybe bigger feather in the cap just career-wise for Mack Rhoades than anything else. I mean, it probably will even hurt him within the conference because inevitably, right? Like, think about this last year. If Mack Rhoades were the guy, he'd be up there having to answer questions about, what's going on with Ole Miss and Alabama, and like, why is BYU not even being considered there? Or he wouldn't even be talking about BYU. Like, it seemed like really happened last year. There wasn't even that discussion. And then people are like, wait, we got a Big 12 guy up there. He can't even enter BYU into the discussion. Maybe you come back on the other side and say, hey, if our guy is the chair, one, maybe he's got a little bit more influence in the room, maybe, and can kick in some more BYU discussion, although they do have to leave, I think, when it's a team from their own conference. But maybe he can, or maybe it's just your own team. Either way, maybe he can generate some more discussion. And then even if it comes down to it, he can be the one publicly putting some pressure on everybody, because if he's answering the questions, you could publicly bring up BYU. Hey, if the room's not going to do it, I'll do it myself here to Reese Davis and see what happens. And if that can spur more conversation for everybody else, because I just said the one thing that these TV appearances do is add extra engagement and discussion. So if he puts it out there and people on Twitter start fighting about it, it's going to be more in the public conscience of everybody. And we saw how that worked last year, right? Everybody complained, the Lane Kiffin tweets and the selection committee and all that. And then it was talked about on, it felt like every broadcast from then on out, Sean McDonough is going on his soapbox during games about all the conversation about that. So it can, I suppose, actually have an impact on the public discourse, which maybe comes all the way back around full circle and helps generate more discussion into the room. So I guess I almost just talked myself into there. Maybe there is something to this. Maybe Mac Rhodes does have a little bit more of an opportunity here. I plant that seed, Mac. Plant that seed. Make sure you mention some Big 12 teams when you are being publicly asked about it when you're doing this. Would love that. One last note on this. I think about this. This might be the last time that you could actually use any of that influence. If there is an influence in that, if there is a truth to what I just said, that you would be able to milk a little bit of extra Big 12 discussion out of this because you've got the chair. This will probably be the last year that that's something that you can do, because after this, we're going to be living in an auto bid world, barring some crazy unforeseen circumstance. We're going to be living in an auto bid world, 4 for the SEC, 4 for the Big 10, 2 for the ACC, 2 for the Big 12. There's not going to be much work for the committee. There's not going to be much work for the committee. It'll be one at large. Maybe that's Notre Dame. Ranking G5 teams would be important, I guess, at that point. But it's going to take away a lot of the work of the committee, which was the whole point. That's what the SEC and Big 10 wanted to get away from. Wanted to neuter the committee so they can just guarantee that they're never going to get treated, fairly when they have a down year like this year with the SEC. So take your last shot here, man. Get in there. It's your last chance. It's your last chance. Mac, do it while you can. Do it while you can for all of us in Big 12 country. Best of luck to Mac Rhodes. Congratulations on the honor. And I look forward to getting angry and frustrated with him, but then hopefully being very happy with him on TV as well in October and November. Alan, what's up, Alan? Alan says, John, the SEC did peak too early. Big 12 will pass or equal SEC by the second weekend. We could have up to 4 teams in the Sweet 16, perhaps even the Jayhawks. Rock Chalk Jayhawk, Alan. Love the optimism, Alan. Love the optimism. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. They will have some teams with good draws. When you've got 5 top 3 seeds, I'm sure they will have 4+ in the Sweet 16. But let's go. Big 12, Texas Tech, Arizona. You guys listening? Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's have a nice little run here. Okay, in the postseason. As far as the Jayhawks go, we'll see. Hey, senior night, feel good win. Good stuff there for Kansas. Maybe that gets them going. KU actually, most of the time I feel like, Alan, the attitude about Kansas going into the Big 12 tournament is very much what I expressed early on. Like, hey, can I just take a break? Like, why? It doesn't really matter. This is actually a year where I feel like that could matter quite a bit. Like, just a team that really needs momentum to feel good about itself. They'll be playing in front of partisan crowds in Kansas City. I think that could actually really help Kansas this year and benefit them just to get the juices flowing and some real momentum. I'm feeling good about what they're doing at the end of the year, heading into the tournament. So just a thought that feels a little bit different to me with Kansas this year than most. Matthew, what's going on, Matthew? Appreciate you, Matthew. Thank you for being here. Said excited for next week discussing tourney seeds. March is hard to beat for the onslaught of basketball across the country. It really is, and I don't like how different the college basketball regular season feels now from like when I was a kid. And it felt like growing up in the late 90s, early 2000s that I just cared so much more about the regular season. And by that, I mean, like, I cared about a Duke, North Carolina game. I cared about, insert big national game here. I just have a hard time caring nearly as much about that anymore other than Big 12 games. And so it felt like the whole season was a bit more of a thing. And now it's just the tournament feels to me as awesome as ever, if not more awesome even than it was when I was a kid. But the regular season just drags. And I don't care as much about it outside of the Big 12. So when the tournament gets here, yeah, I dive all in. Very much excited for it. Very, very much excited for it.